If you've been through Keego Harbor, no doubt you've noticed the beautiful flowers greeting you as you enter the city. Well, it's the work of a small group of very dedicated volunteers with some very green thumbs. With us this morning, Leslie Clark with the Keego Harbor Garden Club joins us on the show. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. Thanks.
Okay, so I'm a little bit green thumb challenged, and I am so envious of the work that you and the volunteers do around town.
We couldn't do it with people who didn't care. This is 7 people right now, and I was just looking at our roster, and since 2014, it's held steady at about 7 people. Some of them have been there for decades. If you come in the south entrance of the city on Orchard Lake Road, the Dalemans have been taking care of that sign and the trees and the shrubs around it, flowers, since before I lived in Keego, probably. And there's another entrance sign coming in on Orchard Lake Road the other way. Robin LaFrance has been taking care of that one for the longest time, although I had it at one point. And I can tell you there's 4 special weeds in that spot, and every single gardener fights the same weeds. We have parks. Every park that has a playground has a flower spot. Some gardener takes care of that spot. The pocket parks along Cass Lake Road that everybody that drives through town gets a good look at, those we try to keep extra showy because all of our visitors see those spots. Those take multiple gardeners. The city gives us a small budget, but I have to tell you, most of these gardeners are putting in plants that came out of their yards because their yards are also pretty spectacular.
So, and how do you, Leslie, can I ask, because like you said, it's such a dedicated group of gardeners. People that maybe are a little bit intimidated, can they jump in and volunteer as well? Or do you have to have some knowledge of how to garden?
Well, for the people that have assigned spots that they've been taking care of for years, it's pretty much gardener's choice and they know what they're doing. Sometimes we learn from our mistakes, but experience, that's how you get experience. We also have, though, if anybody would like to just be in charge of the weeding of a particular spot, that would be awesome. We all work on our own time. We don't do this together. You schedule your own time. So say if you wanted to be in charge of weeding the spot behind the seating area at the firefighters park next to Bachelor's or the B1 Grill, you could do that. And that takes like no skill. Anything that isn't this or that is a weed puller. We also have work days where we'll put out a call. We need a bigger team than what we have. And so sometimes in the spring or in the fall, we'll post an event on the Parks and Rec Facebook page, share it on Keego, and say, just come on out. You know how to prune, or you know how to pull weeds, or spread mulch. That takes no skill, right? That takes no skill.
It takes some muscles. I was so sore after doing it a couple of weeks ago at my house.
Sometimes we just need a little extra muscle. So, people who have little time or have no special skill can help, and they can get in touch with us by calling City Hall and giving them their contact information, and they'll pass it along to me. Or if you're on Facebook, we use the Parks and Rec Facebook page, so they can contact us through that. We had a new member join this year. He had suddenly woke up one day and he was all excited about native plants. Well, we've got a job for him. But he can learn native plant work. It's great.
How long have you been doing this now?
I retired in 2014. And I think I had started just a couple of years before that as a member, taking care of one little spot. And shortly after that, I just became the team lead because our previous team lead retired to be a grandma. So, I've been doing it since then, since 2014. Oh, there's a yellow bird on my mailbox. So since 2014, probably I've been doing it more on a more full-time basis. And I keep expanding the work that the club is supposed to do, which hasn't gotten me, DPW is helpful and grateful for the help, but we take on more and then, we need more people. So, yeah.
It's made such a huge difference, though. I think we moved into Keego about 2016. The parks look amazing right now. So you guys are definitely doing a good job.
Well, we have a DPW, Department of Public Works in Keego Harbor, is one man. Sometimes we have a helper. There's a limit to what he can do. He can keep the grass mowed in the summertime and, major bushwhacking, but they really need the volunteers to do the nice to have things, things above and beyond what absolutely has to be done. So Keego looks great in July, doesn't it? It's just, everything's starting to bloom and the grass cutting slows down a little bit because we have less rain, but we like the place to look nice. And it has been a big difference over the last 10 years, I'd say, in how it looks as you drive through town. Up at Veterans Memorial Plaza at the center of town, we have a terrific new garden club member who keeps the annuals up in the front of that really, really showy. And a lot of people stop at that light and get to admire that particular spot. Thank you, Natasha.
What are those purple ones? Is that lavender?
No, that's Russian sage.
Oh, it
tall
looks
stuff.
Incredible, right?
It does. And you know what? It's cheap and it's easy and it's drought tolerant. So all of Schroeder Boulevard, as you drive past Gino's, you'll see there's a long row of Russian sage there. They put it in for that reason. And we used it up at Veterans for the same reason. And there's a piece of it at Webb as well, just because it's structural and it's showy and it's a really, really tough plant. So we're going for low maintenance, but in really showy places like Veterans Plaza, if you go by there in the morning, you'll see Natasha out there watering probably every day right now. Wow. Just because it's important that spot be showy. And having water makes a huge difference. Along Cass Lake Road, we have water at those parks. In the playground parks, we do not have water. Gardeners carry water in to water anything they plant there. So they choose accordingly. We also have to account for deer. We have deer in most of the parks.
Oh yeah, they're in our backyard. Mama deer and the 3 babies. So you saw where I went and I just ran out when I knew I was going to interview you. So I ran down to the park to snap the pictures, and I passed her on the way, and it's like, stay out of the flowers.
Baxter Morgan has deer. Tate has deer. Franleaf Park has deer. It's just, you have to pick your plants according to who's going to want to eat them. We hope no groundhogs show up.
So, Leslie, can I ask, you've been doing this for so many years. What do you get out of it?
Well, I like working by myself. And I like having it noticed. So, it's like you can go in and do the work and then know that, people are going to see it when they go by. Sometimes they see me. City just gave me a new safety vest, so they'll be making me more visible. I like going up to Magnolia or to the Sunset Park across the street from Magnolia, and I do the flowers in that spot. And there are people over there, residents from Magnolia, come over and chit-chat about gardening because they don't get to do any gardening in Magnolia, but they used to. And so we have nice visits about what I'm planting and why and what they had in their yard when they used to live somewhere else. And I know they appreciate it. So it's satisfying.
Well, it definitely adds so much to the community. And I know you guys have a good relationship with the Sylvan Lake Garden Club as well.
We do. That's been fun. And we'll do a perennial exchange with them. And they'll do it in the spring at their place. And then we come down to the gazebo at City Hall in the fall and have one there. And we've been swapping more and more native plants. That's been really nice to see. People are bringing in less lily of the valley and more black-eyed Susans and purple coneflowers and things that have done well in their yards. But that's a terrific bunch of people over there, and we've enjoyed working with them.
So how can people get involved? Because you need volunteers, and I'm sure Sylvan Lake can always use volunteers.
Oh, yes.
So many of the other garden clubs.
Well, City Hall, if you're not on social media, just call City Hall and say you want to help with the garden club, and they will put you in touch with me. If you are on social media, reach out to the Keego Harbor Parks and Rec Facebook page. And I monitor that, as well as the Parks and Rec chairperson monitors it. Or if you see one of us out doing work along the side of the road, you can stop and introduce yourself.
And say hi that way, right?
That's right. And you're also allowed to honk. If you see somebody gardening on Cass Lake Road or something, just honk as you go by, and that's a thank you, and they all appreciate that.
That is so great. Well, I so appreciate your time. And I know we have a couple other things we want to talk about. Well, so we'll find out with our politicians, and we'll have you back on in a couple of weeks. So that as a Keego Harbor resident, I want to say thank you to you for all your hard work, as well as the volunteers. It does add so much to our community.
Well, thank you for having me.